Excited. It is Friday, and we explore the world of e-commerce and guide you through the ins and outs of selling on Amazon. Whether you're a seasoned seller or just starting out, our goal is to provide valuable insights and tips to help you grow your business. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and join us as we take on the Amazon marketplace together. And that was written by ChatGPT. Who else is playing with that program? We are having some fun. I've got a long list to mess with ChatGPT on, but I am so intrigued by how it's going to change the world. And in the financial area, I know some people that are using it to analyze stock data. I think it's really going to mess with the stock market because you can analyze a lot of data and make some very interesting decisions based off of that. So welcome. It is Friday, and we are doing Q&A today. So we have combed through and come up with a bunch of questions from the Facebook group, Online Selling with Tina. Come join us there. That's where you can post questions and interact and see what's going on, and everything that's important gets posted there. And also from YouTube questions that have been asked, we have it there. But if you have a question, go ahead and comment, and we will get to your question live as well. So good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Lucy.
How are you doing?
Happy Friday. I'm good. I love Friday.
Yes, I am excited for Friday too, because I don't think I have homework tonight, but other than that, I don't have a whole lot going on. My daughter has a big wrestling championship tomorrow, so I'll be driving to that, but I'm excited for that. I'm hoping for no injuries. It will be a win if there's no injuries.
Yeah.
So I know first we need to address, we had a couple questions about people wanting in BOLO groups and or bundle questions. And so just to hit that really quick, we do have openings in our member only BOLO group. The VA group, we are doing kind of a wait list. So if you are interested in the VA group, we are thinking about doing another one, as we have about 4 or 5 people on the wait list right now. So please shout out to Tina or myself if you are interested in the VA group. If you're interested in the member group, you should be able to go and sign up. The spots are open on the Gumroad extension down there. Down below is links. And then the bundle group, man, we had a good hangout yesterday. There was a lot of good questions and just helping people get through. And I did a trademark this week, so I walked through that process. So that video is up and live if you are in that group on doing trademarks. And then hopefully I'll get that registered. You got to wait 48 hours. So like Saturday, I'm going to get home from wrestling and hopefully get my brand registered.
IP complaint. No, I'm just kidding.
That's going to be my next one. I'm going to be issuing them out. So if anybody is like, because I know some people will troll me and that's fine. But if anybody is on some of my current listings, and I don't know if they'd watch this and be on my listings, but there are a few people that I will be issuing IP complaints out to. So you've been warned.
I wish I had a big red button that says IP complaint, especially after you've asked nicely. I've asked you nicely. You realize this is my custom bundle. You can't possibly have this item as it's mine and unique, and they still don't. They ignore you, and yeah.
Exactly.
IP complaint.
It needs to have, you know how on the robots you can ask them, by the way, if you don't know this, you can ask your one machine that starts with an A to fire photon torpedoes. And I think that needs to be associated with that button. And take them down.
I'm never interested in taking down other Amazon sellers. However, if you are doing something unethical on one of my listings that I've asked you nicely, then it changes, because I always appreciate because I have accidentally got on somebody's custom bundle because they didn't have their images clear enough that it was, and I've had them message me, and I gladly take down my inventory. For one, it was a mistake, and number two, I appreciate that they did ask me nicely.
Exactly. Good morning, Mikey. Hope you're having a good day. So we've got, like I said, some questions. Some of them are going to be longer than others, and we leave the hard questions in as well, because let's face it, Amazon sometimes does not have clear-cut instructions. I don't know if you've ever encountered that, Em.
Oh my gosh, I was helping a girl yesterday in our bundle course, and she was having an issue with Amazon on her brand. And I asked her to please send me a copy of the email Amazon sent her so I could read their verbiage as to decipher what they wanted. In fact, I forgot to tell you about this. I have to share this email with you that they sent her. It is so ridiculous. They even used the word thus. Thus we need. I mean, it almost sounded biblical in the way that they wrote. I've
There you
never
go.
seen an Amazon reply like this one. It really had me laughing. I'll have to ask her if I can share it on our live. Of course, I'll take out her personal information, but it was a good one.
They have gotten really creative. All of them have about 4 or 5 sentences now that are, we are extremely apologetic with the inconvenience that this has caused with much frustration to you as a valued seller. I'm just going, what in the what? All of them are like that. You've just take it is
I think they're taking
ridiculous.
keywords and using Chat GPT to orchestrate their
Maybe.
replies to us.
Yeah, just rearrange these words in a few different sentences. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is getting utterly ridiculous. Happy birthday, Mike. You're almost in the over 40 club.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.
So we've got, let's see here. The first question is, and we're going to do the ones from our group first and then the ones from YouTube. So if you're watching this
Yeah.
on the replay and you asked in one spot, that's how we're doing it. Can somebody tell me where in Seller Central can I find a list of all my enrolled small and light items? And I'll answer this one because I had to research it last night. This is a great question, and I was curious as well. There is no good spot that I could find yet to find a list of what you have enrolled. What I could find was on the enrollment page, they now have a disenrollment area. So it's again, you have to copy and paste your SKUs into there. And if it's enrolled, you'll see it as an option to disenroll it. But there is
And
no.
if you end up pricing it to where it's not eligible, you'll just automatically be disenrolled.
Yes. But that's what I had. I got one of them emails this week that says some of your items are going to be disenrolled. You can click to see what items you have using this link. And I farted around with that for like 20 minutes. I'm like, click the link. No, I don't see it. Click the link. No. Okay. No, it is not. It just is not.
And
Uh,
another way to know is to go ahead and try to enroll your item, especially if you were wondering, did I enroll it or not? Just try to enroll it. It will give you a warning or a pop-up that says already enrolled. And if it's not ineligible, it will enroll it. So
yes. And that I guess is the at the end of the day, the lesson is I once a week go into Inventory Lab and I just export all of my inventory. I sort it by everything that's lower than $12 and a penny. And then I take that whole column of MSKUs, copy, paste it into the enroll part, and then click the box to select anything that's not already selected and hit enroll. The whole process takes me less than 90
seconds.
seconds
Mhm.
and then anything is enrolled that I can. And then reversely, like I go into Be Cool and I can sort by price and I can look at everything that's in that maybe $13 range that I want to bring down to $12 and anything that was the $9.99, maybe bring it up a little bit. So just adjusting the prices there so I don't have to, like, it would be nice if it told you somewhere in your, there'd be so many things that are nice. And I don't know who designs Amazon's UI, but not people that use Amazon. So
Yeah.
I feel like going and knocking on their door and like, hey, I need to offer you guys some advice. Like, fix this glitch, fix that glitch,
You
add
know,
this, don't add this.
something I was thinking about this morning, I just have random thoughts in the morning when I drink coffee is I've always been a big advocate in promoting small businesses. I am a previous small business owner, and in today's times with the economy, things are even harder and harder and more expensive, right? And a lot of small business owners struggled through COVID. Some of them lost their businesses, some of them barely have hung on. And I had an epiphany that, when we are shopping on Amazon, most of the time we are really supporting a small business. I'm a small business, you're a small business. Our business happens to be on the Amazon's uh, platform, but most of us 30 third party sellers, we are all small businesses. And so shopping online, be it Amazon or eBay, or if you use Mercari or Poshmark, you are supporting a small business in a roundabout way. It's not the brick and mortar small business, but I just had that thought this morning.
Was it your only thought, or did you have more
No, I
thoughts?
have other thoughts, but I was like, oh, I thought,
I'm just teasing with you. Because it's morning and it's fun. Mikey has a question wondering how do I add a shoe size to a listing? Go to add a product, go down to variation wizard, type in the parent ASIN, add a variation, download the flat file, fill out the flat file, upload the flat file, find out that the flat file is not going to work, create a case, say that the size needs to be added to said listing, include the batch number in your case because it's not going to work because it's another
That's
one. I'm
how
going
it
to
is
knock
with
on that door.
Amazon. It's how you do it, but it doesn't work until you open a case and get them to push it through.
And if they give you heck on that, you call, ask for the catalog team, and then ask to speak with a supervisor, and that's the escalation process to get that done. Conversely, sometimes that's a lot of work, so just sell it on eBay. Depends on how many you have. Like my tolerance, my time involved with my tolerance is really, yeah. There's sometimes where I'm like, yeah, it's not worth all the hassle. Next question. Is there a report in Seller Central that I can run to see ASIN status? I sent in 6 units of ASINs and the shipment shows 6 received. However, my inventory has never updated and shows 0 available and 0 reserved. How do I find these lost items? Well, we talked about this too on the phone, on my phone call with Tina this morning. There are several places you can look for your lost items. One being in your shipments, see if it came in, see if it got checked in. In your inventory, if you go to inventory, manage all inventory, there are columns. One being, what is it? Reserved, in transit. It's the third one. I have to look at it because now I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, and then while Lucy looks that up,
Reserved.
oftentimes I will have inventory that never shows inbound for entire shipments sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It says available, so you get available, and then it's inbound, unfulfillable, and reserved. And those ones are, you have to add those columns in. And you can't do it if you're looking at just, oh, now it wants me to sign back in. No, I'm not signing back in right now. But if you're just looking at the other inventory thing where you go inventory and just FBA inventory, you don't get those columns, just FYI. So you got to go to manage all inventory, and then you can add those columns in. And that will show you your fulfillment, your items in transfer. Then the next area that I would look is under fixed stranded inventory, which they moved that button to your inventory dashboard. That's irritating. It used to be on your inventory page. And I'm like, where'd you put the button? That was.
I know they've moved so many buttons recently. Yeah.
And then if it's not there, you can look under your fixed, suppressed, and suspended section. And if it's not there, then open a case. You kind of got to hunt around, and if you can't find it in any of those locations, then kindly open a case. And this is one where they're going to tell you to be patient and wait, and then magically it shows back up in your inventory.
Yep.
So
and
we
this
don't
is
know
what
what
happens many times.
Yeah, we don't know what happens during that time, but they do something, and it magically reappears. Which, what are you going to do? Mikey, you can go ahead and use the Fiverr gig links down below if you need anything additional. So we've got a Facebook user, FBM order, left a negative review stating, I am a seller selling older version of product and requested Amazon remove the feedback, and they don't. Offered the buyer return for the item for full refund. Didn't send me the product. How do you deal with this? Whine. Just whine. Is probably not the answer you want. I had an FBM order, and they complained that I didn't send the order because they canceled the order and I couldn't get it removed. I opened up a case, and Amazon said I had to go through that feedback removal thing, and it won't get off my board. So I'm stuck with it. And this is another area that they need to fix. So
And you can appeal Amazon's decision. So I'm
I did.
I'm guessing that when they said that is it an older version of the product, I'm guessing just the product packaging has been updated. It's the same item, same everything, but it's now the parent company's new packaging, say for 2023. You can appeal Amazon's decision explaining that the item is the same exact item, same barcode, same everything. It's just that the product packaging has been updated, yet that has not been updated on Amazon's catalog. It is okay to sell things like that. So you can try to appeal that decision, making a good case to back you up. And you can, if it's something you have an invoice for or a receipt that shows the UPC, you can also add that into your case. It's always worth a shot.
Just a moment. I am going to be sharing a couple of things on the computer here. There we go. The next question going down the list is, well, I kind of want to jump around for a second here. All right, let me see if I can add, present, share screen. Oh, entire screen. Let's do that, Amazon Pharmacy. So you might have just received an email about this, which is what I did. But Amazon has been poking around with the pharmacy world for a little bit, and it looks like it is driving into fruition now. And how do I know this? Because I have one of my roommate in college is a nurse, and they called him, and they've been interviewing nurses and stuff for a couple of years now. But it looks like they are getting going, and they are going to be doing pharmaceuticals on here, which is interesting. I don't know if it's going to be, let's see here, one subscription, all your eligible meds, $5 a month. We'll see if it pans out to that. Might be worth it for some of us. I would really love some improvement in the pharmaceutical world, personally. We have a lot of people here that just go up to Mexico, or not they go up to Canada, or down where you are, go down to Mexico to get drugs.
Oh yeah.
A big thing. And then this, I wanted to pop this in, and I will plug them. This is a great list that ties into the next question that somebody asked. Has anybody had any experience with sunbum? They come up in an IP alert, but sometimes that's wrong. So it is difficult sometimes on figuring out IP complaints. But my go-to, like, I don't run an IP alert anymore on my phone or on my computer. I know they came out with an IP alert that does integrate with the phone now. Do you remember what company that is off the top?
I don't. No, I don't. It might be, which I have, I think it's called Seller Amp, I think is the software I use. It might be on that. Yeah, Seller Amp. That's what I have.
It might be Seller Amp, or it might be IP Alert. I can't remember.
And one of them's free. I do have an IP alert on my computer, a plugin extension, but it's a free one. Sometimes when I click then on the IP alert, it gives you dates if it's an actual verified claim or if it's an unverified claim with the date. So I will look at that. And then I also gauge it by how many sellers are on the listing. And then I may look at that brand at other listings they have and just take a look at Keepa to power of deduction to see is it truly an authentic IP alert or not. And oftentimes you can tell that way. And certainly if that brand themselves is selling on there, or companies that maybe only sell, let's say, like a pharmaceutical type of thing, you can sometimes just use common sense and figure it out. But when we can't use common sense and figure it out, or we're still confused, then you can go to what Lucy's going to share with you.
Yes. So that link is down below. I like looking there. I like just typing in the company's name, and then so this was Sunbum. So Sunbum, Amazon IP alert, and see if people are posting about it. Like, hey, when people say, hey, I received an IP complaint from Sunbum, it's going to then get flagged, and you'll see those posts, and you can take it for what it's worth. Kind of like Number 7 started issuing IP complaints. Number 7, which you could source at Walgreens, was great. They had a lot of great replens, and it was a great one to source and do. And they have decided to lock down, and so they have started issuing IP complaints. And how do I know? Because I read the boards and everything. It's kind of, you got to stay up with the times. If you're thinking, oh well, 2 years ago I sold it, it was no big deal. It's 2 years old now.
Right, because Number 7 was always a great brand to sell until they decided they are going to take control over their brand on Amazon.
Yep. Mikey says Weber sells like crazy, and it's issued IP complaints. Same with IKEA. I sell IKEA
IKEA
all the time.
too. Mm-hmm.
And so Seller Amp is not the source of truth always. And that's why I
Yeah.
stopped using the IP alert, because if I'm going to start selling a new brand that I have not had experience or know about, I just I will research that particular brand before buying a bunch of it. Karen
Yeah.
says she's got IP alert app on my phone. Yay. Good, good, good. All right, Christelle, this one we can talk about. Have you
Yes.
ladies ever received an invoice from UPS stating that you owe money for a shipment? $108. Why do weird things always happen to me?
It's
Yes.
not just happening to you, Crystal. This is something that people have been discussing in the Online Selling with Tina Facebook group. We had a thread about this, and I hadn't heard of it either until I don't know if it was last week or this week. We got discussing it. I think Lucy made a YouTube video on how to find this information. So it is not just happening to you, it's happening to a lot of other sellers.
Yes. Yes, it is. And one of the biggest things that I found was if you they're going through and they're trying to make money is what it comes down to, in my opinion. But they are auditing different things, and then they're going back and they're charging you for the difference if you've messed up on shipping. And my guess is it's going to stem from people that have abused the system. They have entered in the wrong dimensions to get cheaper shipping, and they're trying to catch up with that. So let's say during Q4, you had shipped out 100 items, and each of those items was 12 by 12 by 12 and 3 pounds. If you had put 10 by 10 by 10 and 10 pounds, it might have been, whatever, a $2 savings or something. And I know people are unethical and maybe did that, and they're trying to clean things up. So I don't know. I try to give in the best dimensions that I can, and not
Yeah, and
necessarily
Amazon had
screw
been
around it.
actually eating those costs. They've always eaten those costs according to Amazon. And starting this year, they are not going to be doing that anymore. They had sent an email out about that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Question to those that sell beauty products such as eyeliners, lip liners, small individual items, what size poly bag do you use? And I brought mine up. Just a moment. Let me kill
So you
that.
can sign out of your account.
Well, I'm just the other stuff. I don't care where. Gee, all right. So this is what I use, and it's currently unavailable, so I'd have to find another one. But it's a little poly bag, and I just put it up.
It's
But
like a bubble poly bag.
yeah, well, I'll go grab it because it's not there.
Yeah, so I use the same thing. They're just small. I mean, you just can measure. You can take like a pen, or even a cell phone and measure it to get a rough idea of how big you would need, yeah, one of these bags to be. I feel like you're like an airline stewardess, like, hmm.
Excuse my box of matches. So when we put things in, if it's like super big, sometimes I will fold it like this so it's really big and they cannot miss it. But other times I will wrap it.
I generally do that because a lot of times it's a powder, like makeup item in there.
Yeah.
And for ladies, when we've ordered things like eyeshadows or blushes in the mail and it comes to us as powder, that just really stinks.
Yeah, this is 4 by 7.5. So
Yeah.
I would I'll see if I can poke around and find another one, because I don't need to order them now, but I will need to order them in the future. I got like 1 bucket left. This one I ordered 1,100 of them. It made the cost per bag a lot better than ordering the small, like lots of 100.
And Crystal also says what is even weirder is the tracking number is nowhere in her orders or FBA shipments. And in this situation, I would counteract back with Amazon with a case, and I would pull up, if you know what the exact shipment is that they charged you for because of this tracking number, I would definitely open up a case asking them to please identify what shipment that is because you don't have this tracking number, because it possibly could be an error.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of, just type in bubble bags. This one's a 4.5 by 5, which is kind of nice. It looks like it fits a deck of cards. It's kind of tough. I mean, you want something that is going to fit lots of different products, but you also want something small. So they're kind of nice because you can roll them up like that. And then anything under 5-inch opening, you don't need the warning sticker on, because I don't know, you can't put this on your head. Yeah,
I don't know why I found that funny.
Jeanette, good morning. Can you explain the new bidding for storage system, or is that even a thing? Saw it yesterday. Yeah, that email came out, and I don't know enough about it to speak about it
I
yet.
don't either.
It is like, if you're over or under 400, you're going to have less storage space. It's just they're reconstructing how they divvy up storage space. I didn't see any big impact to my business when I read through it. I was like, okay, well, I'm over 400 on my IPI score, and I'm not even close to storage limits with my current parameters. So I kind of glossed over that and moved on.
Yeah,
But
until it applies to you, you almost don't have to worry about it.
yeah. Well, and it was just worded confusingly. They were like, we're going to have a bidding thing on blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? I don't know. It sounded like a lot of words for not a lot of change. What did you?
GPT wrote it.
Maybe. All right. My title is not indexed. What should you do? That one's a tough one. My go-tos if things are not indexed is you need to go fix the browse nodes. And if you're not the owner of it, you can't really fix it. Now, I have this in something that is a replen for me, and they kindly messaged the owner of the listing to fix the browse nodes, which means nothing. So I had to recall the product. If it's my own product, then you can call and or use the help section and or use the edit your listing and get the browse nodes updated. But this has been a huge issue. I had probably a dozen items affected by it. Some were mine, some were others. And I have been fighting it since early November, maybe?
Yeah, it's been quite some time. And then Amazon, on one of the items I'm a brand owner on, Amazon says they have to notify the brand owner. They notify me. And then I say, yes, please change it. And then in that case, they say, well, we have to notify the brand owner. I'm like, you did. It was me. And I said, yes, please update my listing. So it's just like, they just send me in this circle and it just wears me out.
Oh, yeah. It is round and round and round, and it's utterly bizarre. But yeah, I've had the same conversation, and when I call them, they are like, "What? What's indexed? What's a browse node, huh?" And I'm like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, so sometimes if it's something that you cannot fix on your own, you can call and request to get to the Amazon catalog team, because they are the only ones who can truly help you get it fixed. And if you end up with somebody in the United States, you're definitely going to get really good help, get it fixed, or get the formula or the how to do it. Just because that's how it is.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I like when I get the Amazon catalog team in Arizona. It really works out great. They're always and then they can explain it to you, and they can give you such great tips, and you can take notes, and then that way moving forward you will know how to go in there and fix things on your own. But when your product is not indexed, if you created the product, sometimes it is something you can easily fix on your own. And you can just look through all of the tabs in the back end, and you may find that error, because Amazon did make a lot of changes into how we have to create listings. So they changed things in the back end that maybe didn't exist when that listing was created that are there now, which is how, like what Lucy's talking about, the browse nodes ends up getting messed up.
Yep. Yeah, there was some, what was it like? You used to be okay in not having a particular, what was it? Oh, there's been some, and it's escaping my mind, but They weren't required when you first made the listing, and now it's required. The other thing that has been going on that I've seen over and over is there was a ton of junk created by people who used barcodes that were ones, purchased off eBay. And they've basically in the last 9 months gone through and took down all those listings. So if you were on a listing that was created that way with a barcode that's not a proper GS1 barcode, and they took the listing down, there is no way to recover that. It is recall your product, make a new listing, find a new
I
listing.
had a fight with Amazon this week and I was not able to win. I don't win all my cases, although, I give it a real Girl Scout effort. There was a listing, it was a single standalone item. That was an item that I scanned the UPC and it was in Amazon's catalog. I did not pay attention to who the brand was at the time. It had been on Amazon for quite some time. The rank was incredible. It sold like hotcakes. I even bought this item. When I say I scanned the barcode, I bought this item actually from one of my wholesale distributors, authorized suppliers. And so when I had my item, I sent it in. Well, the person who made the listing, it's like, what is wrong with you? You had the UPC, you created the listing with the UPC and put the brand as generic. Why would you do that? So therefore, the listing got taken down because it was under the brand generic. So in me and my, detective skills, I narrow it down. Well, it had the UPC. So then I go pulling it up in the database as to who is the owner of that UPC. I opened up a case with Amazon, letting them know I did not create the listing. The brand generic, unfortunately, was incorrect. This is the correct brand name. You can, and I even took screenshots of the USPTO database, of the our GS1, who that UPC code belonged to. I submitted my invoice of that line item showing that I bought that UPC coded item from authorized distributor. And Amazon said, after a round and round cases, it boiled down to that I had to have a letter of authorization from that brand in order to update that listing in Amazon's catalog.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. The only thing I have to add to those types of scenarios is if you use the UPC code wrong, let's say you are a brand owner or you did the generic versus your brand or whatever, once you use that UPC code in the catalog system, it gets tied to a product and gets essentially used. And if you want to get that UPC freed up to another, to the correct way of using it, you have to get that listing, that page tombstoned is what they call it. That's Brittany's my favorite rep, and she's in the South States. But you have to get that tombstoned, and then once it's tombstoned, you can then use the UPC code correctly. But until the system shows that it's been tombstoned, it stays in there as associated with something. You can only associate it at that time. It was just, yeah. DSW says, same thing happened to me. 1 hour with Amazon, got nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. All right, next question. When I download the income, expenses, transfers, and tax report, yours looks so nice. Mine is downloaded to Excel spreadsheet and is very difficult to read. Any suggestions? Data. My suggestion with data is to get some basic Excel or Google Sheet. Google Sheets and Excel is pretty much very similar. There's a few commands that are different, but cleaning up data and getting something presentable is definitely a skill that I think we need in this business. Would you agree, or what are your thoughts?
Yes, because I know what they're talking about because that's the way mine always looked. It would copy
Yeah.
and paste it, and then it seems like a monumental task to analyze it and go through it. And then because you were great at doing these sheets and putting the formulas in there, I was like, oh, this does look really pretty and it makes sense and I like it. And so now I am a fan of using Google Sheets. And if this particular person who is asking does not know how to program Google Sheets, you can buy them programmed. You can hire someone in Fiverr to program it how you want it. You can watch videos how to program it. And you can even ask ChatGPT how to formulate something in Google to spit out the results that you would like. So those are your options.
So I did a video on this week. So you guys will see this later. But what I did was I exported all my sales from January. And this I exported it through Inventory Lab. So if you go into Inventory Lab, FBA sales, do January 1st to January 31st, exported it. Then I cleaned it up by hiding any cell that I didn't really care about. And I added this classification. And then I did a count if and a sum if. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but count if and sum ifs. It took me a minute to figure out what I want. And the biggest help was I asked my husband, because I'm like, oh, I ran out of time and I didn't get it. And I'm rusty at my count ifs and my sum ifs. And he said the best thing is to go to Google and say, give me an example of count ifs. And then you go and you find the example that looks like what you're trying to do. And instead of saying, how do I do count ifs, do count if examples in your Google search. And that helped. That cut down. I was able to find the thing in the morning, which type of formula summary I needed in the morning, much, much easier. And then he said, oh, God, there's another one, but I'll have to, I bookmarked it at home, but his partner at work, his work wife, Tina's my work wife, but his work wife, Brittany, uses something else and I can't remember what it is, but ChatGPT is another go-to on how to do that. And there are YouTube videos that will tell you basic Excel functions. I use sums and averages all the time when I'm looking at my average, return ratios and profits and all of that. This one in particular, I was sharing with Tina, and that's why I did a video on it with y'all, but that'll be published next week. It will come out because I just filmed yesterday. Anyhow, I wanted to see where my profits were versus sales, where my sourcing is. So your data always needs to tell you something. Like you can sit there and look at the numbers and just go cross-eyed and be like, well, I looked at numbers. And at the end of the day, if you don't have any actionable items or if that data is not telling you what's going on, then it's just busy work at that point. But my goal was to look at January and say, okay, out of the stuff that I sourced, what makes me the most profit? Is it when I go out and do retail arbitrage or if I make my own bundle? Because I only have so many hours in the week, right? And I need to either say like Sunday's my day that I'm going to be at the house and I'm going to catch up on some housework, but I also need to do a little bit of work. And if I'm going to choose, either I can go out and go shopping or I can work on my bundles. Which one should I spend my time on? And if you're just like, well, I like doing shopping. Well, if that doesn't make you the most money, then, you got to have that decision driven by something. And mine is money driven right now. Same with, you could go through and classify it by where you shopped. Did you shop up north or did you shop down south? We have different
store, that store,
this
chain,
store,
that
that store.
chain.
If you go to this shopping center versus that shopping center, I mean, you can classify the data however you want to give you what you need to do. Because like I'm in the greater Seattle area. And if you know this area, you know that there's many different areas you can go shopping and some are more highbrow and some I bring my knife and taser to. So I talk about my stabby Walmart. I don't go to stabby Walmart to source because it's junk. It's picked over and it's just not a good place to source. So, that's great that we have Walmart leads in our group, but I can't go there and get them. So bad. It is so bad there. Anyhow, that is my suggestion. Is just to figure out how to do it. I'm also very visual. So you'll notice a lot in my Excel sheets, I will color coordinate and do colors. And that's because it helps me visually look at the data. I'll see if I can find another example. But what about you, Tina? What about you?
Well, I do the same sheets as you as well. And I like the color coding too because my eyes know where to dart to for what I am doing. And I like the graphs. I like, where you can see that it's gone up or gone down because that visually tells me a story, like those purple lines down below, or how the months are color coordinated. I can quickly just, know where I ended if I want to jump from month to month. Otherwise, when it's just all white background with all the black numbers, it just becomes a sea to me. it just becomes a sea of numbers. There's no break point.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my total sales, and I added in total items sold so I can start doing labor analysis. And again, why do I need the data? I need to know how much junk we shipped out because I know how much labor I paid, and then I can sit there and I can calculate and I can say, okay, my labor cost me this. Because when I'm looking at third-party packing centers or my bill for my warehouse here, I need to know what are those items cost me out there that I'm having packed up. So I just pick different colors. I don't have any color palette. I'm not a creative person, as y'all know. I like the purples and the pinks. I mean, your data might as well be fun. Do it whatever visually looks good for you. But I one time went down the rabbit hole of figuring out how I organize and how I learn because I'd follow organizing things and I'm like, I'd do it and it wouldn't work for me because that's not how my brain works. So figuring out how your brain works, just like figuring out what your love language is, there's like 4 love languages. I don't know if you guys have ever done that test, but learning yourself and figuring out how that is super important. Me, I'm visual. That's why my desk is cluttered because if I don't have these boxes sitting right here, it's not on my to-do list. I have to have it there.
You have to see it to be reminded of it.
Yes. I have to have things on my Trello board or it's like out of sight, out of mind. My closet, if a shirt gets tucked in behind and I don't see it, out of sight, out of mind. It doesn't exist. I don't see it. Now I did organize all of my back stock last week before we had inventory on Monday. But it has a visual label, and so it's all in that box, and I know where it is. I have to keep all my cleaning equipment together because if I put down a bottle of Windex somewhere and house it somewhere different, out of sight, out of mind. I will forget where the heck I put it. It's got to be grouped up. All right, next question. Shipping for hazmat, do you need to fill out a safety data sheet?
We just did this yesterday.
Did we fill it out or did we answer
No. We spoke about this last night when we did our live hangout in our bundles group. Reno was discussing about how to ship hazmat and can you buy your shipping through Amazon and
I have submitted SDS sheets. If the item's already in Amazon, good chance is that your SDS sheet is already there. But if it's not, you can usually find them online if it's a major thing like Bath and Body Works. There's fragrance sprays. The SDS is online. Just type in Bath and Body Works fragrant SDS sheet. Sometimes you need to put MSDS sheet. They changed it from MSDS to SDS about 5 years ago, maybe 10.
Yeah, and they're simple to upload in Amazon. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a simple spot to upload that form and hit submit. And so if it's not already in Amazon, it could be that your product that information is already submitted to Amazon's catalog if it's already been on there for sale, especially if there's already been FBA sellers of that item. It most likely that information is already housed in Amazon. So not every seller has to submit it. Once it's there at Amazon, it's done for all sellers on that listing.
Exactly. Now, as far as shipping, you don't have to have the SDS to ship anything, but you do need to know what makes it hazardous because that's going to be whatever it is going to dictate how it's packaged and shipped and what warning stickers goes on it. And that has to do with DOT. Now, I went through the fun times of when we had 9/11. I worked in an R&D facility and I managed well over 250 chemicals in our SDS database at the R&D facility. And we had, our bases kept in one cabinet and our acids in another cabinet, reactives in one cabinet. You had everything kind of separated and you had to know segregation and all of that. And similarly, the DOT wants to make sure that you're not shipping things that are going to have chemical reactions. Things aren't going to go in the air and explode. That's what they're trying to make sure doesn't happen. Now, most of us are just shipping whatever, some cans of hairspray or Bath and Body Works fragrance. And so it's not high. We're not going to take out a plane with Bath and Body Works. Most of us are not at that level to be able to do that. But you do need to know that it's because of the alcohol in it. Just like if
Yeah.
you are selling vanilla extract, it's because of the alcohol in it that
And it's
makes
flammable.
yeah, it's flammable. You're not. It may seem silly because none of us are going to be able to like take out a building or a house with vanilla extract, lighting it on fire. But we all know meth labs stem from Sudafed, and that's why there's regulations around Sudafed, right? You take the Sudafed and you watch Breaking Bad, and then you make meth. And I don't know. I don't know the whole
And
process.
YouTube is going to flag you now for
Yeah, I know. YouTube's going to be like, what are we doing here? But you need to understand that's why it's there. And most of us are going to Sudafed because we need to breathe. And you got to understand why the regulations are there so that you know how to operate in the world.
You're freezing. I mean, I hear you perfectly, but like there's lag, like you're freezing from time. And I don't know if it's just for me or for everybody watching too. I
It's
don't know
my
if I freeze for
computer.
you too.
I got to restart it after this.
Oh, okay.
It says there's an error and I need to restart and I need to update. Sarah says, I'm having trouble creating a Bath and Body Works set listing. Do I need a type approval? Yeah, you need approval to list Bath and Body Works.
Yep.
And that's what we walk through with our bundle group. So you can either scour the web and see how to get that approval or walk it through yourself. There is a few ways you can get it done. Oh, thank you. Eastern Rose, you made my day.
I
You
think that's
absolutely made my
Teresa.
day.
I
We super
think.
duper appreciate you and everybody
Yes.
that's on here. All right, next question. Do you use any software integration with QuickBooks? I've heard of A2X and I'm considering it since I want to start using QuickBooks Online. And thank you both.
Yes, I use A2X. And do you use A2X as well?
I do.
Yeah.
We both use A2X. And what A2X does is it pulls all your transactions from Amazon and puts it into a way that your accounting software can then categorize and do it. So it will take that order of whatever, $15 and say $5 was an Amazon fee and $2 for tax and $3 for handling and shipping was this and your cost of goods from here was that. And it busts it out into a nice, it puts it into a way that you can do your bookkeeping. That's the best way I can explain it. But
It breaks down every order and it itemizes every single separate fee for the one order. Because as you know, one order has many fees attached to it. And it breaks it apart.
Exactly. And I don't think there's I was talking to my husband about this actually, because I'm like, A2X must be making a killing. And there really should be more options.
Competition. Yeah, there's no competition.
I know I pay them exorbitant fees. I pay a lot for just data analysis. Man, we talk about data analysis and it's because you've got so much data and it's great that you can go to Amazon and like pull all this data, but organizing it and getting it in a user-friendly manner is ridiculous. I really think Inventory Lab ought to step up their game, or there's got to be more competition in this area because we're not the only ones that struggle with this. It's across the boards with people that sell on Walmart, Shopify, Amazon. We all struggle with this because if you are not running A2X and QuickBooks and tons of software, they don't give you the data in any sort of way that the layman can go and sort out and get it sorted for their taxes. Okay. I think that's the end of our questions, Tina.
It was the end of our questions. So we still have a few minutes left online here this morning for our hour that we do our live. If any of you watching have a particular question you would like us to answer, please shout it out in the chat.
Yep. This is kind of your last call. What are you doing today? We'll talk about our day.
You know, it's Finance Friday. I do my paperwork every Friday. This
Yeah.
year, when we set our, call it New Year's resolution, call it restructuring our life, whatever you want to call it, we decided to make our weekly, I'm calling it an adult chore chart, a little bit more fun and give it fun, catchy names that it kind of sticks. So, since I've always done paperwork on Friday, I've nicknamed it Friday Finance or Finance Friday. So I do all things money, numbers, bookkeeping, things like that every Friday. I just
Well,
think it's
that
a good
sounds
way to end the week. And I do have work days on Friday for the most part too.
that sounds terrible.
Terrible.
Although when you're done, you're done, and that does feel good going into the weekend.
Yeah, I like getting my numbers done. Not that I love doing numbers or finances. I wouldn't say that I love that chore, but when it's done, I feel like it just takes a weight off of you. You know where you stand with your money. How much do you have left to spend on, if it's your Amazon money, how much do you have left to spend on inventory, if it's your personal finances. It's just if you let it go for 2 or 3 weeks, it just becomes a daunting task.
Yes. Yes, it does. So this week was the first of the month, and my thing going into 2023 is I am going to keep track of my KPIs a little bit better and more organized. So I went through this week and I did all my KPIs, which include sales numbers, items sent out, all the stuff that we track with Inventory Lab and with Amazon, so that I can track that. And then it also has some other things like my total inventory value. So at any moment at the end of the month, I can know how much my company is worth. And I've got a few more things to set up on that. But I also did inventory, which was ugh. I don't like doing inventory. It's one of my things. I don't really like doing that. And then still working on for Washington State. If you guys are in Washington, and or you may want to check with your state for anything that I paid sales tax on, I can go and remit and get reimbursed from that. So like Target, you always pay sales tax because they don't allow reseller permits. But I can, let's say I spent $100 at Target and I spent $10 in tax, I can remit that to my state and get reimbursed for it for up to 4 years. So I have one of my packers plugging away, putting in all of the receipts that we paid tax on and getting that caught up. And then
She'll really help set you up for what her value was per hour on that, because the first check you got, how much was it? 7,000? It was quite a bit.
I was four and a half, I think, four
Okay.
thousand 500. And then
4,500 for taxes paid, and that was only for one of the years. I mean, so that's a lot to be able to recoup. I would definitely, if I was you all out there, I would ask your CPA when you're getting your taxes done, do you qualify for this? Does your state qualify or allow for you to do this? Because that can be a lot of money when you can go back for 4 years in your business of all the sales tax you paid at various stores.
yeah, I've started tallying it on my spreadsheet. $4,170 for 2018. I had to get that in at the end of the year. And then 4,141 for 2019. And then we're going to finish up 2020, and 2020 is about 4 grand right now. So yeah, we're not talking about just a few pennies. So I was like, yeah, I want to do that. That is now priority number one.
Mhm.
That jumped up on priorities really fast.
And lobster and steak dinner with wine as
Yes,
a reward
yes.
for it all. Yeah.
Although I'm feeling like crab too. Crab sounds really delicious right now. The other thing I did was I went through and did the trademarking this week. So that, yeah, I told my husband, I'm like, between working on the site, the government site for Washington, which is a horror. I mean, you think Amazon's UI is bad? God, my state site is just awful. And then the USPTO site, another one that is just like swimming through sludge. I'm going, what in the what? Who designed this? Nobody who has maybe it's designed for computers or robots, but it's not designed for any sort of layman or use. It is really awful and hard to trudge through. and, and then my accounting homework is kicking my butt, so I'm just about done with frazzling my brain this week. It is awful. Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you for watching us for our Friday Q&A. Have a great weekend. And if you haven't, like or subscribe to our channels and join us in our main Facebook group if you're interested in hanging out on Facebook for those in Facebook land. And we'll see you next week.
Yes. Everybody have a wonderful weekend.